Bill, let me try to explain something to you. As we sit here and idly chat, there are women, female human beings rolling around in strange beds with strange men, and we are making money from that. Good evening, everyone. This is Stone Gasman live from New York City. And tonight we are doing our second commentary of the evening, which is a 40th anniversary commentary for Ron Howard's Night Shift. One of my favorite comedies. Actually, no, this is my favorite comedy of all time. No joke. Of all the comedies I've seen, this one is Zenith, as far as I'm concerned. I've seen it many, many times. I've shown it to many, many people over the years, and I am very happy and excited to do a 40th anniversary commentary because it came out on July 30th of 1982, produced by the Ladd Company and distributed by Warner Brothers. So just to say hi real quick to people in the chat, Joe Bob Tarheel and Johnny Lewis, thank you so much for coming for my Deliverance commentary, which I delivered just a few minutes ago. And now we're about to go ahead and get started on Night Shift, I think. I mean, I've already made the updates on Twitter and everything. So, yeah, so here we go. Night Shift, the 40th anniversary. I am currently paused on the white background screen as we see the Ladd Company tree logo appear. So we'll start on the count of three, 3, 2, 1, and play. And this, of course, is Steven Spielberg's music underneath the Ladd Company logo with the tree. Alan Ladd Jr., who, of course, ran the Ladd Company, passed away earlier in the year, famously gave the okay to George Lucas to make Star Wars for 20th Century Fox. Yep. So I believe that the genesis of all this started with producer Brian Grazer when he went to the Ladd Company with this idea of two guys who start a prostitution business out of the city morgue. The script was written by Lowell Gantz and Babalu Mandel, who would write many other scripts later for director Ron Howard, including Parenthood and The Paper and Gung Ho, Ed TV, several other, not The Paper, I'm sorry, but Ed TV and several other movies as well. Very, very wonderful comic team. Yeah, this guy obviously has a feather in the back of his hat. It's like with these opening shots, you wouldn't think that this is a comedy, but in fact, it very much is so. Ron Howard had actually made his directorial debut in 1977 with Grand Theft Auto for producer Roger Corman. And there's really nothing special about the movie aside from the fact that it was really just a way to show Ron Howard could actually deliver and direct a movie under Roger Corman's tutelage, you could say. But this was Ron Howard's sophomore movie after he had done Leave It to Beaver, where he played Andy Griffith's son. And he also was on Happy Days throughout the 1970s. That looked real. That was yeah, that looked like it hurt too, really. Now, one of these basketball players is actually director Kevin Rodney Sullivan, who later on would direct movies like what's well, I almost said What's Love Got to Do with It. No, it's How Stella Got Her Groove Back. That's what he directed. Well, he's one of those basketball players. So this great opening. Like the viewer is not quite sure what's going on. I mean, you could see a guy who's clearly being chased by some other guys. You know, he runs past these basketball players, and he goes up where they are waiting for him. Now, you might recognize the guy in the glasses as Richard Belzer, who's actually billed in this movie as, I'm not kidding, he's actually billed in the movie as Pig. That's who he's billed as in the credits. No joke. Uh, but yeah, that is Richard Belzer, who is, of course, best known for being on Homicide: Life on the Streets and Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and so he plays, he plays a pimp in this movie, essentially. Right through the. It's like weren't expecting that to fall down from the sky. But I love this line right here. Pay up, sucker. And here we start my favorite comedy of all time. Just right there when he says, pay up, sucker. Yes. A Brian Grazer production. This one, of course, was the first of many, many films that Brian Grazer and Ron Howard would work on together all throughout the 1980s and 1990s and into the 2000s, when they eventually won Oscars for A Beautiful Mind, starring Russell Crowe. And this was filmed all on location in New York City, starring Henry Winkler, the great Henry Winkler from Happy Days. And I also love him particularly from a 1977 movie called Heroes, which I'll be doing an audio commentary for on Veterans Day this year. Hope you can all make it out for that. But this was also the film debut of Michael Keaton, who, of course, would become a major star. Of course, he was, at the end of the decade, he would play Beetlejuice and Batman, and has proven himself to be a great dramatic as well as comedic actor. And we'll be looking forward to seeing him play Batman again, hopefully, if The Flash ever comes out. And he's also going to return as Batman in the Batgirl movie, which is supposed to premiere on HBO Max later on. But yeah, this was his very first film, and they cast him strictly on the strengths of his improvisational skills during his stand-up. Original music by Burt Bacharach. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Burt Bacharach. Yes. Now, Carol Bayer-Saga, who wrote the lyrics for the songs, the first time I heard her name was actually in Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, where they name dropped her with Burt Bacharach and Hal David. All these names, these very popular names in the world of music back in the day. And of course, this opening title song is by a band called Quarter Flash. The soundtrack is one of the great things about this movie, among many other things. And we'll be talking about the soundtrack as well. But I love this opening song by Quarter Flash. Produced by Brian Grazer and directed by Ron Howard. Like I said, and only his sophomore movie right here. And we open up the morgue drawer to begin our story. And here we have Shelley Long, right here, the beautiful, very funny Shelley Long, who, of course, this came out July 30th of 1982. And, of course, 3 months after this movie came out, she would star in the sitcom Cheers for at least 3 or 4 years. I wasn't a big watcher of Cheers, to be perfectly honest. I just know her from the movies, mostly this and Outrageous Fortune and Troop Beverly Hills and Hello Again and other films. I've always liked Shelley Long. I mean, it's really a shame that we don't see much of her anymore, but I've always liked her. I've always been a Shelley Long fan, largely because of this movie. But, I've always liked her delightful, kooky performances in her other films, as I just mentioned. And here she's made up with, the eyeshadow and everything to look like a hooker, because that's years before Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. Shelley Long played a hooker with a heart of gold here in Night Shift. Oh, Jane Jenkins without Janet Hershenson. Yeah, yeah, I noticed that. I mean, usually they work together as a team when it comes to casting, and that's funny you should mention that because oh my God, are there some familiar faces in this movie? I mean, a lot of people long before their careers exploded, very much new in the game. I mean, Michael. It's not just Michael Keaton's first movie. I mean, as we will soon find out here. Splash. Yeah, I do like Splash too. Is this a great country or what? Yes, it's, indeed, indeed. Ain't you going home, Chuck? So yeah, Charles Lumley III used to work on Wall Street, and it's just the rat race and the it just burned him out. So he needed a place that was peaceful and quiet. So he chose the city morgue, the New York City morgue, to work at while he's in a basically a transitional period, as he likes to say. There's no supervisors around, and you practically run the place. You like to read. It's quiet here at night. Like, what are you complaining about? You know, you'll be breaking in a new partner, Bill something or other. Now, don't you hate it when this happens? Don't you hate it when you're bumped out of a job that you're working at in lieu of of the boss's relatives? I mean, don't you hate it when that happens? I mean, for real. Yeah, I think he's my nephew. I'll see you, Chuck. uh, Now, even though Michael Keaton was the one that became the real star out of Night Shift, I mean, every time I watch Henry Winkler in this role, I just think, oh, what could have been? I mean, I wanted to see much more of him in leading movies after Night Shift because he really didn't do much. I mean, he executive produced one of my favorite romantic comedies, which is The Sure Thing, with John Cusack and Daphne Zuniga, which Rob Reiner directed. But he also directed Cop and a Half with our old buddy Burt Reynolds, who, of course, we just saw in Deliverance. Uh, and he was supposed to direct Turner and Hooch, and he got fired. But you know, the thing is about Henry Winkler, everything I've read is that he is known as pretty much like the nicest guy in Hollywood. And I love him. I love him on Twitter. I love his tweets with, where he, he just spends his retirement fishing. You know, he loves to show off his fish while he's out there, canoeing and everything. It's like, oh no, we're going back to Deliverance now. Wait a minute. So, all right, now coming up here as Henry Winkler is going to his apartment, you see a guy kissing a woman. That is, in fact, Ron Howard and his wife, Cheryl. And they've been married together for many, 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 many years. But that is, in fact, director's cameo number 1. And, of course, this dog that gives Chuck hell when he's trying to come home from work here. Ron Howard is now 68 years old, and his new movie has actually just opened. It's called 13 Lives, about the soccer team that was stuck in the caves as they were filling up with water. It actually got the highest test scores in MGM history. So Ron Howard is still very much making movies, still very active, and he's one of my favorite directors. In all honesty, but Night Shift may be my favorite Ron Howard film. I mean, I could, I know I should go with something like Backdraft or Apollo 13 or Frost Nixon or something like that. I know I should go with one of those others, or Willow even. But no, I adore Night Shift. I think that, I think of all the films he's made, this is my personal favorite. And he just asked his buddy Henry Winkler from Happy Days if he would do this film, and Henry Winkler said yes, thankfully. But yeah, after Night Shift became a hit at the box office in July of 1982, Ron Howard would then go on to direct Splash, Cocoon, Gung Ho, Willow, Parenthood, Backdraft, Far and Away, The Paper, Apollo 13, Ransom, Ed TV, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Beautiful Mind, The Missing, Cinderella Man, The Da Vinci Code, Frost Nixon, Angels and Demons, The Dilemma, Rush, In the Heart of the Sea, Inferno, Solo, A Star Wars Story, Hillbilly Elegy, which that sounds more like an appropriate double feature to put with Deliverance, if you ask me. But and finally, 13 Lies, which, like I said, just opened this weekend. What is your guys' favorite Ron Howard film? I mean, I think Night Shift is still at the top for me. I still think, honestly, this is at the top. Nice call on the sure thing. Winkler as executive producer was a surprise when I first saw that credit. Absolutely. Don't apologize. Night Shift is one of my favorites. Oh, awesome. Awesome. And here we hear Michael Keaton coming on screen for the very first time in his career as Bill Blazejowski. But you can call him Billy Blaze. And the look of horror on Chuck's face is all we need to let us know that this guy is going to be a real handful. Oh, what's our job? We go around and pick up stiffs or what? Is that what we're supposed to do? Yeah. Henry Winkler. Now, what I love about Henry Winkler also is that I remember when he spoke about Robin Williams, because Robin Williams, made his first appearance on Happy Days when he came down and he visited Henry Winkler when he was in Ron Howard's house, Richie Cunningham's house on Happy Days. And Henry Winkler was just in awe of this comic genius that was basically blossoming right in front of his eyes. And I could attribute the same thing to Michael Keaton right here in Night Shift. I mean, Henry Winkler's reactions speak volumes. They really do speak volumes in this movie. I mean, and that's why I'm saying is that Winkler is really just as memorable as Keaton. He's just not as loud as he is. Hey, you want Snickers? It's not frozen because my refrigerator broke. If I had to choose Splash, okay, yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Yeah, it was a breakout for SCTV vets John Candy and Eugene Levy. Yeah, very true. I do like Splash as well. I do really like Splash as well. Oh, what's in here? Just stiffs and stuff. I mean, Michael Keaton in all his glory, freshman glory, right here. I mean, no, seriously. What were those who love Batman and grew up watching Batman? What was your reaction to Night Shift? I would really like to know. I ran across a random quote on one of the scenes on YouTube for this movie, and this guy said, "Oh, so this is how Bruce Wayne made his fortune." Yeah, he made it. He made it with prostitution. Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. And that is an actual book too. The simple solution to Rubik's cube. Oh yeah. Well, what is that simple solution that it requires an entire book to explain? Now, Henry Winkler's fiance here is played by an actress named Gina Hecht. I really love her performance in this movie, even though her character is pretty much a handful here. But she started out on Mork and Mindy, actually, which I just mentioned earlier. There's actually a few Mork and Mindy alumni in Night Shift. I'll point them out when we come to them. But Gina Hecht is one of those actresses that came from the Mork and Mindy show over here to Night Shift, and I really like her here. She's very cute, and she really does sell this character. Even though, I mean, most guys would probably not have the patience to deal with her, who is like so concerned about her her body and everything. And I love how Henry Winkler tries to get her all horny here and everything. Now, right here in bed, she asks him, are you excited? And he says, oh, like the French when Limburg landed. Am I fat? No, you're not fat. You're a willow. Oh, willow. Yeah, there you go. You're a reed. You're Audrey Hepburn. it's, maybe not quite Audrey Hepburn, but Gina Hecht is really, really cute. Now, as I said, the soundtrack for this movie is just one of my absolute favorite soundtracks of all time. So much that I even own the original LP, which I'll show off a bit later. But this song that you hear muffled, she doesn't like the word orgasm. The song that you hear right here is a song by Chris Jensen called "They're Tearing Down Tim Riley's Bar." So. And Gina Hecht was also, she did an episode of Desperate Housewives. She did an episode of Glee, or actually, she did several episodes of Glee as Puck's mom. And actually, for the last, from 2015 to 2019, she was on General Hospital as Judge Rachel Lasser. So, and this guy is Tim Rozovich, who was in Looker, another Lad Company release that came out in 1981, and I did a commentary on that just a few weeks ago. So this is his second of 2 Lad Company appearances, and he was also in one of my favorite films called Cloak and Dagger with Henry Thomas and Dabney Coleman, which just got a really nice Blu-ray release courtesy of Vinegar Syndrome. Make sure you pick that up. You live here? Luke is leaving town tomorrow with a rodeo, and I hardly ever do business up here. So what kind of business are they doing? Oh, yeah. She's just selling cowboy hats. Yeah, no problem. Edible wrappers. Blaze is easily a favorite Keaton role. Yes, absolutely. Got my copy of Cloak and Dagger, a must. Yeah, absolute must. Pick up that Cloak and Dagger from Vinegar Syndrome. It is awesome. And I did a commentary on it last year with some lovely friends from Region Free, Sam from Texas, from San Antonio, and she helped me out with the film's locations. I'm grateful for her for that. Oh, he looks forward to that all week, and she just leaves him. It's just like, wow. And of course, he has to deal with the dog again. I love the dog. I mean, I love everything about this movie, but I love the dog. Now, one of the rumors, okay, look, this is early 1980s New York. This is, right before Scarface came out. It has been said, and I've read it a couple of sources. I don't know if they're, look, and here again, I'm not trying to disparage Michael Keaton in any way. Look, they were in the 80s, early 1980s in New York City, but it's been said that Michael Keaton did cocaine on occasion while they were making this movie, which I'm not going to say definitively if that's the case because I'm not trying to disparage the guy in any way. Because look, I love the guy, and whether he was or not, I almost don't care. But that's what people say. Like when his eyes bulge out right here. Look, it could be just a facet of the character. But hey, look, like I said, this was a year before Scarface came out when cocaine was huge in New York. Huge in New York during those years. Well, this is good. Call Starkist. I've actually tried to tag Starkist on Twitter a number of times with that joke, and they still haven't responded to it. I really wish they would have, because I want their reaction to it. Let's see right here. He says, a beer drinker, doper, nose candy, coke. I mean, look, it could be just a facet of the character. I don't want to say for sure if Michael Keaton did any of that, but ultimately, does it really matter? No, it doesn't matter. And what kind of paper is this? There's no sports, no comics, no Ann Landers. Like what the hell? And here we have Clint Howard. Oh yes, Ronnie's little brother, Clint. Yeah, he's been in most of Ron's films, not all of them. I don't think he was in A Beautiful Mind. I could be wrong on that. I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 movies that he didn't do with his brother, but he was definitely in this one. And he has an even better scene later in the movie, which I'll point out, which he probably loves Ron giving him the opportunity to do that. It's at such a young age. It's a limo for dead people. I do weddings, do bar mitzvahs, just go down and cruise the airport. $400 from the airport to the UN. Yes. Mm. All right. Do a timestamp real quick. We are approximately 25 minutes and 25 seconds into night shift as Billy Blaze puts his sign over the New York City logo on the car there. Yeah, what if we have to go pick up a body or something, And then there's Clint Howard getting ready in the backseat with his with his corsage and everything. Hey kid, you like music? And then jumping jack flash. He's like, yeah, gas. Yeah. Oh yes. Eagle Bauer in the flesh. Yeah, like I said, I mean, when I saw this movie for the first time, I was thinking, man, Gina Hecht is so super cute. It's just a shame her character is just, almost unbearable. But she is super cute and funny. She was very funny on Mork and Mindy. Here's one of the great lines from Lowell Gantz and Babalu Mandel's script, which has been repeated. I've heard a number of people use this line. Evening, Leonard. I was like, oh, that Barney Rubble, what an actor. Like he actually thinks that. Never mind. Yeah, he's that dumb. Well, he's even more dumb when you realize what he did to the to this form that he filled out, quote unquote. He actually filled out this form right here. He's singing the Flintstones theme song as he's leaving, and then when Henry Winkler picks up this form, I love this joke. Name of the deceased, something Polish. See that? Now that's good dialogue right there. That is just great dialogue. And of course, Michael Keaton is still going on about his fucking blackjack system. I mean, see, Michael Keaton really represents that guy at work that you just cannot stand, that you just want to like shove away every time he tries to say something or get near you because you're just busy working. You're trying to concentrate on what you're doing. And you have this guy like dancing around you, like, you know, telling you this and showing you this. It's like, hey, how about this? You know, it's like half the time you're like, no, I don't care. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so they barred me for being too good a player. Whatever, man. Whatever. I think I'll go to Vegas next week. Yes. Oh, Bobby DeSico from I Want to Hold Your Hand is the Barney Rubble fan. Oh, shit. That's right. That's a reference. Oh, wow. I gotta buy I Want to Hold Your Hand on the Criterion Blu-ray. I really do. Because I only saw it once. I only saw it once, and I don't remember that for sure, but I should have known that. I should have known that. Thank you so much, Johnny Lewis. Thank you. Edible paper feeding mayonnaise to tuna fish. Yes. Now, and before Henry Winkler had done Night Shift, he did a movie with Sylvester Stallone in 1974 called The Lords of Flatbush, which is now considered a cult film. He also did a movie called The One and Only about a wrestler, written by the guy that did Arthur, which is actually one of the few Henry Winkler things that he did that I'm just not a fan of. I am not a fan of the one and the only, which was directed by Carl Reiner, if I believe. Yeah, that's one of his weaker films. But then again, I mean, I like that. I like that Henry Winkler had the role as the principal in Wes Craven's Scream. That was a joy to see that on the big screen because when he first appeared, you know, you get the joke immediately. It's like, oh yeah, the Fonz became the principal. Oh yeah. Oh, and this, of course, is where Henry Winkler's Chuck and Michael Keaton's Bill, they bond and they become friends, despite the fact that Michael Keaton comes off as a real handful in the beginning of the movie, needless to say. But Henry Winkler grows to tolerate and like him, so that's a good thing. Now, this Blu-ray, which Warner Archive put out, this came out just only last year. I especially love the cover art on there. That is in fact, the original theatrical poster. No bonus features though, which is a real disappointment. I have been lobbying on Twitter for years for this to get on Blu-ray and with bonus features. But as you can see, unfortunately, there are no bonus features. Henry Winkler actually responded about 3 or 4 years ago to a tweet where I said I would love to see Night Shift on Blu-ray in a anniversary edition with extras, and he just basically retweeted and said, "I agree. I love this movie. I loved working on this movie." And apparently, he has nothing but fond memories of working on Night Shift. Although Ron Howard has actually said that while he liked making the movie, he had to deal with a lot of issues with Warner Brothers executives who were coming in and telling him to do this and do that, and he had a difficult time with the executives, but at the same time, obviously it turned out to be a very fruitful experience for him. I mean, this made about $21 million, minor hit, and here we have Shannon Doherty from Heathers and Beverly Hills 90210. She makes her debut right here as a Bluebird Girl Scout who tells the other Girl Scouts to attack Henry Winkler in the elevator there. That was, in fact, Shannon Doherty. This was her film debut, although it should be stated that she also gave the voice of one of the mice children in the same year as The Secret of Nymph. But at the same time, this was her years before Girls Just Want to Have Fun and Heathers, and of course Beverly Hills 90210. I also have Mallrats in my Blu-ray collection. I got 3 movies with Shannon Doherty: Heathers, Mallrats, and Night Shift. So I guess that makes me a Shannon Doherty fan of sorts. But my favorite line from her in Heathers is still when she tells Winona Ryder, "Why are you trying to pull my dick?" You know, I love Shannon Doherty in that. Now, I actually read the when the Blu-ray.com review was published on Night Shift. The author said that he really liked this movie's um, healthy look at sex work. Very respectful, very healthy look at sex work, which hadn't really been done before. Because in this film, of course, Henry Winkler realizes that these pimps, they're drug dealers, and they take control of the women through the drugs and everything, and basically uh, punch them and beat them when they don't submit to what they want to do. And I remember when I was in the Navy and I read about the Green River Killer, which was the most prolific serial killer that we've ever seen, that murdered like 49 prostitutes in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State and Oregon. And that's one thing. Sex work is still remains to this day very, very dangerous work for a lot of these women, because they're constantly uh, uh, getting these violent situations with men, and of course the pimps. But of course, Michael Keaton gets the idea. We can handle her and her girlfriends right out of the morgue. Yes. Oh, pimps is such an ugly word. Call ourselves love brokers. Love brokers! Yes! And here, as you can see, entering the subway as Michael Keaton leaves, is Ron Howard's second cameo, his second director's cameo as this blind man playing the saxophone. This is Ron Howard right here. And this sets up one of my favorite jokes in all of film history, which I adore this. When I first saw this, I couldn't stop laughing. Uh, it looks like Ron Howard playing the saxophone has gotten disgruntled at the little change he got, so Chuck decides to write him a check. Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. I love it. Love brokers. Yes. Love brokers. Mm. Yeah, it's such a shame that Shelley Long just didn't do all that much after this movie. Although she is going to come back for a couple other Lad Company releases that I will be doing commentaries on in December. And yes, those in fact happen to be the Brady Bunch movies. The Brady Bunch movie from 1995, directed by Betty Thomas, and a Very Brady sequel from 1996, directed by Arlene Sanford. And she, of course, played Carol Brady in both of those movies. And I thought she was a perfect choice to fill Florence Henderson's shoes as Mother Brady. I'm looking forward to actually doing the commentaries for those movies in December. So look out for those. Those are both, in fact, Lad Company releases. Two of the very last ones that Alan Ladd Jr. released under his company's banner. I'm almost wondering if that's how the connection and how her casting was done, because of Alan Ladd remembering her from Night Shift. But of course, we all remember her from Night Shift because of the fact that she appears in her underwear in Henry Winkler's kitchen. Oh my God. Oh man, I'm gonna need more water. I'm gonna need more water after this. Seriously. Oh no, Charlotte, why did you call me? It's like, what do you mean? Why she called you? She's your fiance, you doofus. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Just Belinda's just making eggs. And he hangs up the phone before he says, "I love you too." Yes. Oh, we know this relationship is going to last. Absolutely. I was going to look up before I did this commentary if that brand of coffee still exists. Because I don't know if they make Savarin coffee anymore. Oh no, they do. Yeah, Savarin coffee still exists. Wow. We're going to see the close-ups here in a little bit, but as you can see, Henry Winkler just put bread to his forehead, and right in the next scene in the transition, Michael Keaton says, "Do we have any bread?" I've always liked that. It's like, of course, bread meaning two different things here, but yeah, I mean, and they gave him the wrong bread. They were supposed to give him wheat, and they gave him white. Don't make a fuss. The chef spits on it. Now, of course, this is New York City back in the 1970s and early 1980s when they still had this cesspool of adult entertainment. I mean, there were peep shows, there were porn shops, there were specialty shops. A Midsummer Night's Wet Dream was among the movies that you could go see in a theater back in the early 1980s and, of course, the 1970s. Taxi Driver is probably the most famous film to depict that seamy side of New York City that just doesn't exist anymore. And here's just a little piece of it that Ron Howard and his cast found this location to shoot at. With all these, 25 cent, peep shows. It reminds me of those, things back in the 1910s where you just put the quarter in and you would see like a quick succession of slides. And that was like one of the first things in the silent movie era that people were exposed to when it came to this new medium. But then again, porn had been around since the silent days anyway. So, I mean, I like I said, I've shown this to a lot of people, and whenever the guy like licks his tongue and puts it on Henry Winkler's face, some of them go ew. Like, look, I don't know. I mean, I guess, I mean, here being the pre-COVID, I mean, something like that, I mean, just wouldn't fly today, I guess. But I guess Henry Winkler has enough trust in this man to put his to put his saliva in his hair. Oh yes, Heaven 17 on the soundtrack. Actually, I got something to say about that because when I first announced my night shift commentary on Twitter, when I first announced it on Twitter, I actually uh, did a response talking about the soundtrack, and I mentioned Heaven 17, and wouldn't you know it, somebody from the band actually liked the tweet. I'm looking real quick. See if I can find him real quick. Well, somebody associated with Heaven 17 actually liked the tweet, but Heaven 17 hasn't been around in years. They honestly haven't been around in a long, long time. I can't seem to find him for right now, though. Hmm. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Martin Ware. Yeah, Martin Ware, Heaven 17, BEF, founder, Human League, composer, producer, activist, 3D soundscapist. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And see, Martin Ware, I just want to make sure I get this out here real quick. Wanted to give him a shout out anyway. Okay, so he's an English music producer. The British Electric Foundation was an experimental production project that employed artists including Tina Turner, Sandy Shaw, and Gary Glitter. The band's first album in 1980 was an instrumental cassette-only release, Music for Stowaways, followed in 1982 by Music of Quality and Distinction, Volume 1, which featured vocalist Glenn Gregory. By this time, Ware and Marsh had already teamed with Gregory to form Heaven 17. Their first release was the single We Don't Need This Fascist Groove Thing, which was banned by the BBC. In 1983, they released the hit song Temptation, which reached number 2 on the music charts. And the band went on hiatus in 1988, but reformed in 1990 and released Music of Quality and Distinction Volume 2. In 2005, Marsh left the band, but Ware and Gregory continued production. Ah. And their song on the soundtrack, I might as well show you right now. Here is my soundtrack to Night Shift, and the Heaven 17 song is in fact Penthouse and Pavement, as you can see there on the LP. They were a pretty solid electro pop band, and Martin Ware did give me a like once for praising Simple Minds' Derek Forbes in the same breath as New Order's Peter Hook. Oh, that's super cool. Absolutely. That is really super cool. Yeah, like I said, I really miss Shelley Long in films. I mean, very, very, very pretty, very funny, very talented. She was also in a great movie after Night Shift came out called Irreconcilable Differences, which she made with Ryan O'Neal, which was directed by Charles Shire and co-written and written by Charles Shire and Nancy Myers. And it was basically based on Peter Bogdanovich after he left his wife Polly Platt for star Sybil Shepherd, because he was making this musical version of Gone with the Wind called Atlanta, of all places, Atlanta, like in Deliverance, uh, which was actually based on Peter Bogdanovich's failure at Long Last Love, starring Burt Reynolds. See how all this comes together, But yeah, Shelley Long, I loved her in practically everything that she did. Everything. I fell in love with her practically because of Night Shift. Yeah, it's just a real shame that she doesn't. Real shame she doesn't do much anymore. Although, let me just double check real quick. Get your hands off my bottle. The homeless guy is like, yeah. Uh, Shelley Long is still working though. She's still working. She doesn't. She just doesn't do major movies anymore. She was Diane Chambers on Cheers for about 5 years. She did come back in 1993 very briefly. She did 7 episodes of Kelly Kelly, 8 episodes of Modern Family, and yeah. So anyway, in the scene right here with all the prostitutes, you will notice a prostitute that is on the phone. That is, in fact, Drew Barrymore's mother. There she is right there on the phone, wearing like the different multicolored, frizzy thing. Actually, you see her right there in the corner the bottom right corner, that is Drew Barrymore's mother. She's eating a sandwich and on the telephone. Well, this is the same year as E.T., so I like to joke with people that, oh, she's probably phoning home. You know, that's, here we have some early 1980s prostitutes in very working class streetwear. But as we will soon learn, Bill and Chuck have come to these prostitutes with a proposition. Like, would you like to make 10 times the amount that you're working for now? You can separate from your pimps. You can come work for us and make 90% of everything you make, and you will get medical and dental benefits. You know, it's just amazing. This is the world's oldest profession. It's like, why is prostitution still illegal? I mean, seriously, can someone explain to me why the hell prostitution is still illegal? It makes zero sense to me. You're not going to stop people from having sex. So it's like, what's the point? I mean, you know, sex workers, I think, deserves just as many rights as any other person out there in the blue collar workforce. I mean, why can't they have these benefits is beyond me. In fact, I think even the clients would prefer these benefits. I think everybody would prefer them. 70, 80, 90% of your money. I love in the cast credits, they're all given they're all called the ladies of the night, our ladies of the night. They give them that very special cast credit right there. Very much deserved. I can take money and I can make it into more money. Yes. And see, yeah, he gives all the reasons right here. Why do they have to, be subjected to violence, and be hooked up on drugs by these criminals? You know, there's a better way. And here we're about to get another big song from the movie, which is Al Jarreau's Girls Know How. And Al Jarreau, he passed away only a few years ago. Let's see, just bring him up here real quick. Yeah, he passed away in 2017. He was his 1981 album Breaking Away spent 2 years on the Billboard 200 and is considered one of the finest examples of the Los Angeles pop and R&B sound. And the album won Jarreau the 1982 Grammy for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. And in all, he won 7 Grammy Awards and was nominated for over a dozen more during his career. And this is his song, Girls Know How. You know that girls know how to. Ask any man around who. Yes. I love this entire soundtrack. I mean, especially when Burt Bacharach's original score kicks in. Pension and profit sharing plan. Yes, absolutely. Michael Keaton checking out the jewelry here. Yeah, I think I mentioned it before, but like I said, I like that random comment I found on a YouTube video. It's like, oh, so this is how Bruce Wayne made his fortune. And yeah, Savarin coffee, it still exists. You can still get Savarin coffee where he hides all his money. Jarreau also sang the theme song of the 1980s television series Moonlighting. That was the show with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd, and was among the performers on the 1985 charity song We Are the World. Yeah. And he won Grammy Awards in 1978 and 1979 for Look to the Rainbow and All Fly Home, respectively. He also won in 1981 for a Sesame Street record, In Harmony, for Best Recording with Children. He won for his album Breaking Away and the Best Jazz Vocal Performance for Round, 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 Blue Rondo a la Turk. And he also won for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group, and Best Music Video for We Are the World from 1986. And his last award was actually in 2007 for God Bless the Child, but he was still recording music well up until his death in 2017. So, yeah, that's Al Jarreau. Yeah, really like his song "Girls Know How." Yeah, drinking before all the Alka-Seltzer has. Yeah, there you go, Johnny. Yep. Best known for singing the theme song for Moonlighting. Absolutely. Loopy called she's finished with Mr. Culpepper. And now she's with Mr. Jurgens. Yeah. Michael Keaton using the tissue for his muscle. Like, he's using that for muscles? Oh, come on. You can find something better than that. I mean, come on, man. I like his corn dog too. He loves his corn dogs, evidently. And this is one of the great quotes from the scripts by here again by Lowell Gantz and Bob Lou Mandel, where Chuck is announcing his grievances ever since starting this prostitution business. As we sit here and idly chat, there are women, female human beings rolling around in strange beds with strange men, and we are making money from that. Is this a great country or what? that line by Michael Keaton is legendary. Okay, it's just absolutely legendary. And I think this is a good time. Well, actually, okay. Before I talk about the screenwriters a little bit further, the next scene is one of the funniest scenes in the movie, and it's also one of the most eye-popping because the next scene is basically we're going to see a frat party going on inside the morgue. That is the same fraternity from Animal House. That is the exact same fraternity. And along with Shannon Doherty and Michael Keaton, we will also have another actor making his film debut in Night Shift. And we're going to see him right here in just a second as Henry Winkler goes into the morgue where he hears music. Yeah! You really got me. This is You Really Got Me by Van Halen, which is not on the soundtrack. It's not on the official soundtrack, sadly, but you really got me. You really got me. I love it. So, yeah, coming up here, right here, just after Henry Winkler gets thrown on this... Oh, no. You really got me now. Right behind Michael Keaton, right here, balancing a bottle on his head in the gray shirt, that is Kevin Costner in his very first movie. He is billed as frat boy number 1. There he is right there. Kevin Costner, Michael Keaton, and Henry Winkler all on screen together. And we're going to see Kevin Costner again. Look very carefully here on the left side of the screen. Wait for it. Right here. There's Kevin Costner making out with Drew Barrymore's mother. Hey, come on. I'm not, hey, look, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. You never expected Kevin Costner to make his film debut molesting Drew Barrymore's mom on screen. Okay, you just don't expect that. Oh, oh no, Chuck, you had to turn off the music. Come on. You're in a morgue. You're partying in a morgue. And this is why I think Clint Howard, loves this movie, because he got to be in a morgue drawer with a naked woman. Now, why not? Hey, Jeffrey pulled one down. You really got me. Yeah. See, there's Drew Barrymore's mom laughing at Michael Keaton. Oh, and by the way, what Michael Keaton does there with the beer can, that's what John Cusack does numerous times in The Sure Thing, which Henry Winkler executive produced. So yeah, that was one of John Cusack's character traits in The Sure Thing, with the which he calls shotgunning beer. That's what he did in that. And here we hear the very first notes of Burt Bacharach's wonderful romantic score, which is a song that we're all familiar with, which we'll talk about a bit later. But first, be sure to look at the license plate here on Bill's car here. Shotgunning the beer. Yep. Shotgunning the beer. Look at that license plate. I'm cool. Now this scene is just a riot. I mean, look at the Rolodex. Just look at the Rolodex on the top of the car. See, kids, before cell phones, we had Rolodexes. This is what we use to keep in touch with people or keep track of people with all their numbers. Yeah, I can turn the music down. I can turn it up. I can make them reverberate. Glass. Yeah. Nobody can see in. It's like, okay, now Henry Winkler had to look out the side window because he couldn't stop laughing at Michael Keaton's performance right here. We got teenage girls. The place is full of broads in here. Roger, officer. Roger. Let's see. Another thing about this car. Yeah, you just pop the trunk. You don't even have to move. Let all the garbage out. Let's see the Rolodex. I love the Rolodex, man. I just love that. That's how they kept in track of all the clients. Oh, man. Oh, excuse me. We're going to have fun till our daddy takes a T-bird away. That was not given credit in the soundtrack, needless to say. Now, this was something I also wanted to double check. I mean, if there's still burger steaks anymore. I don't think there are. Yeah, I don't think they exist anymore. But I think they used to exist. I think they used to be a chain. Or maybe not. I don't know. If so, they were only in New York. Let's put it that way. They were only in New York City here. So yeah, let's keep track here. We got Michael Keaton, Shannon Doherty, and Kevin Costner all making their film debut in Ron Howard's Night Shift. That is, I love that. I love that. I mean, when you think of debuts in movies, I don't think you can get better than that, can you? Really, that's a trifecta right there. And once again, here's Richard Belzer, who is literally billed in the cast, as we will see. He is literally billed in the cast as Pig. Not pimp, just pig. Yeah. I wonder if he squeals like one. Ah! All right. See, now it's Christmas time. Yeah, we have a little Christmas interlude here in the middle of night shift. I have been elected the spokesperson. And give us nicer men's to meet. We have furs and jewels and nicer dresses to wear, and we even go to Vital Sassoons to fix up our hair. Oh, that I love that. Come on, now that's poetry. That is pure poetry right there. Unless living with the Ratonas and the mouses, yes. And Michael Keaton just staring at her. I mean, like no reaction. No reaction to that. Oh, a new tape recorder. Yeah. So, Michael Keaton won Best Supporting Actor. Well, he didn't win the Oscar. He won the Best Supporting Actor from the Kansas City Film Critics for Night Shift. And of course, he would win that exact same award after winning the Oscar for Birdman. So, yeah, there we go. See, that's the thing. What happened to Michael Keaton for like 10, 15 years? I mean, he just went off and did a lot of independent films. I mean, he actually directed a movie called The Merry Gentleman. He's done a lot. I mean, he's done a lot more than just Batman. It's funny because when he was cast as Batman, of course, all the press, gave him hell because, it was like, what, Mr. Mom? That guy, I mean, Johnny Dangerously, that guy is going to be Batman. Well, obviously, none of them ever saw Clean and Sober, which is a movie that Michael Keaton did in 1988, the same year as Beetlejuice, where he actually gave a full-blown dramatic performance. It was the very first movie he gave a dramatic performance to. And he was brilliant. I mean, he played a guy who was addicted to cocaine and other drugs. But he's also an embezzler. He's also a Pennsylvania real estate guy that he gets, embezzles his clients. And so he goes to a rehab facility to hide out for a while. And his therapist is played by Morgan Freeman. And yes, it is as good as it sounds. That was his first full. But none of the critics cited that when they mentioned Batman. It's like they just complained that, oh no, why'd you cast Michael Keaton as Batman? Like, well, nobody complained about him after the movie came out. That's for sure. Nobody did. And I'm very curious to see what Michael Keaton is going to do with the role, in the next year, because we are going to see him soon. Stand by. We are going to see him grace the cowl again after all this time. I really loved him a few years ago also in the movie The Founder. If you guys check that out, that is the true story of how McDonald's came to be. Because basically Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc, who manages to weasel away the rights away from the McDonald brothers. So, but the McDonald's that we have now is just a corporate Frankenstein of stuff. Very little of what the original McDonald brothers had that Ray Kroc essentially stole from them. And Michael Keaton is brilliant. I mean, I thought he would have won the Oscar for that. I mean, he should have won for Birdman. He should have won the fucking Oscar for Birdman. But no, we had another young British guy play Stephen Hawking, and he just stole it out from under Keaton's nose. Literally the big nose, like he's wearing up here in a mask right now. But look, I love Michael Keaton in everything. I mean, I love him in most of the things he's done. I mean, I saw Gung Ho recently with him reunited with Ron Howard, and that's actually funnier than I think people remembered it being. I actually really liked it. And he also did The Paper, with Ron Howard as well. So they got to work together at least 2 times after this. Yeah, so this is what Chuck spent his money on. He spent it on a new gravestone for his father. And Shelley Long finds that so moving. Now, this scene is actually listed on YouTube as the scene which makes the movie great. Yeah, the scene that makes the movie great. I mean, because Shelley Long, she plays this hooker who, men have always treated her like hell, treated her like an object, and she says, she never had a relationship with her father, and she was very, very moved by Henry Winkler's way of showing love for his own father, and that's why this scene is as moving as it is, even though it's a comedy. That Burt Bacharach music, it look that oh man, I mean, it works, and it works so beautifully in moments like this. This is, of course, the love theme to Night Shift, which is actually That's What Friends Are For, which we will hear over the end credits by somebody other than Dionne Warwick. Even though she's famous for doing that song, she wasn't the original artist. She wasn't the original artist at all. You see, I love how Shelley Long's reaction changes as Henry Winkler tells this confession to her right here that he is seriously, seriously attracted to her and really practically wants her. He wants her. But of course, he hasn't said anything, and we understand why. Yeah, this is going to make things a little complicated, probably. Yes. Yes, Clean and Sober is getting the recognition it deserves. Yeah. Underrated film. Very underrated film. You remember Touch and Go from 1986, which co-starred Maria Conchita Alonso? I want to see it, but I've yet to. Yeah, that's one of the few ones I haven't seen. I know he was in, I think, Compromising Positions, too. I mean, he did a couple of other weird... Oh, no. Something else. It was something else involving a dentist, but I don't remember what. I'd have to look it up. Oh. But he did a couple of weird movies in the 80s as he found his footing. Oh, I love this. I really hope Henry Winkler and Shelley Long got along well when they made this movie, because I have heard reports about Shelley Long being quote unquote difficult to work with, but then again, I mean, we know that could mean code for executives being denied sexual favors or whatever. Look, I don't know. I love Shelley Long and practically everything that she did, including this. And Henry Winkler for the most part. I mean, aside from the one and the only, I like everything that he did too, as well as Michael Keaton. I mean, now here they are in the bathtub. He's having a cigarette, even though he doesn't smoke, as he clearly states right here. Now he's about to talk about a movie from 1971. It is an actual movie released by Warner Brothers called Clute, and it was directed by Alan J. Pakula, starring Donald Sutherland and Jane Fonda. And Jane Fonda actually did play a prostitute. She won her very first Oscar for that movie, Clute. She later won her second Oscar for Coming Home with Jon Voight, who, of course, we talked about during Deliverance. But yeah, this is an actual movie called Clute, and it's really good. It's a really good mystery film with Donald Sutherland where she plays a call girl. And yes, in the first scene where she meets with a customer, she actually does look at her watch while they're having sex. And I love how Henry Winkler's character here is testing her with this to see if she really means everything that she's doing and saying. And she says, I don't wear a watch. And then that music swells up again. Oh, it's so wonderful. So wonderful. And they are really, I love them together. They make a cute couple. They really do. And of course, Henry Winkler is now crazy. He's happy. He's pumped. he's, Every time I show this to people, they always laugh their asses off at Michael Keaton. I mean, excuse me, Henry Winkler finally blossoming here. Finally, growing some guts for once. Lost River Drive-In. Hey, how you doing, buddy? I'm doing great. How about you? Do a timestamp real quick. We are approximately 1 hour and 13 minutes and 35 seconds into Night Shift. We're coming up here on the 1 hour and 14-minute mark for anybody that wants to jump in. And we got about a half hour left to go. And Shelley Long has just entered the office, and we realize, uh-oh, no. She's actually going to go back to work. Now, okay, I can't complain about anything in this movie because I adore every second of Night Shift. When I say that, I've seen this movie, hundreds of times, I've salivated over every second of it, every performance, everything that went into the making of this movie, I love. And bless everybody that made it. The script by Lowell Ganson, Babalu Mandel. I got to admit, when I first saw this movie, at this point, I did question, now, wait a minute. I mean, look, all Belinda really has to do is quit, and she could become a partner. I mean, what's the problem with that? I don't understand that. I mean, is she worried about that the other women might be jealous? Like I say, that is the easy solution to this. I don't understand. It has to blow up and we have to break them up. I understand that. I mean, typically of how all these movies go about, but it's like all this wasn't altogether necessary. I mean, all she had to do was join him as an equal partner. I don't think they would have objected to that at all. So I wish they had provided a little bit more reason for that. Instead they automatically go to these insults, which are very harsh. I mean, he calls her a whore and she calls him a pimp. And it's like you could tell that was meant to be very, very harsh. And of course, Michael Keaton is just trying to, just trying to keep the business going. It's doing well, man. I hope you're doing all right. Staying cool in New York, I hope. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I got my AC unit going. I'm good. I'm definitely good up here. I got the car keys. You got them? Just throws them in his face. Just throws the keys in his face. Oh, man. So I wanted to talk about the screenwriters real quick. Lowell Ganson, Babalu Mandel. This was the first film they ever wrote, and they teamed up with Ron Howard and Henry Winkler for this movie. Howard signed on because he wanted to start directing, while Winkler wanted to move away from his image as the Fonz. Gans's second film, Splash, made stars of Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah and earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Screenplay. So they actually got an Oscar nomination for Splash after working on Night Shift. And they also wrote Spies Like Us with Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd, Gung Ho, which reunited Michael Keaton with Ron Howard, obviously, Parenthood, City Slickers, Mr. Saturday Night. They wrote A League of Their Own with Tom Hanks and Gina Davis, one of my great favorites. Greedy with Michael J. Fox. City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. Forget Paris. Multiplicity with Michael Keaton. Ed TV with Ron Howard again. Where the Heart Is, not the Dabney Coleman Where the Heart Is, but the Natalie Portman, Stockard Channing, Ashley Judd Where the Heart Is from 2000. They also wrote Robots, the animated film Robots from 2005. Fever Pitch, the remake with Drew Barrymore. Oh, so there you go. They wrote Night Shift, which had Drew Barrymore's mom, and then they wrote Fever Pitch, which had Drew Barrymore herself. Well, there you go. And their last film that they wrote was the Tooth Fairy, starring The Rock. That was their last movie that they wrote together. And so, yeah, here we go. Here's yeah, here's Richard Belzer again. Again, he was billed as Pig. That's essentially what he was billed at in the credits. Richard Belzer. Yep. We're angry. We're insulted. He was our friend. I'd like to be your friend. Please, God, let me be your friend. And here we have also the Solid Gold Dancers. Yeah! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Woohoo! All you do to me is talk, talk. Yeah, this is another song from the soundtrack, Talk Talk by Talk Talk. Talk Talk was an English band that formed in 1981, led by Mark Hollis on the vocals and guitar and the piano, Lee Harris on the drums, and Paul Webb on the bass. The group achieved early chart success with the synth pop singles Talk Talk, It's My Life, and Such a Shame, both 1984, before moving towards more experimental approach informed by jazz and free improvisation in the mid-1980s, pioneering what became known as post-rock. Talk Talk achieved widespread critical success in Europe and the UK with the singles Life's What You Make It in 1985 and Living in Another World in 1986. In 1988, they released their fourth album, Spirit of Eden, which was critically acclaimed but commercially unsuccessful. Friction with the band's label EMI resulted in legal action and countersuing. Webb departed, and the band switched to Polydor for their final studio album, 1991's Laughing Stock, but split soon afterwards. Yeah. So, yeah, there's Talk Talk for you. Mm-hmm. Poke some holes so the water comes through. Oh, man. That's horrible. Of course, Michael Keaton had no idea these guys were Vice. No idea. What's going on? Excuse me. Like, yeah, he just realized, yeah, you guys are police? How could they be cops? I should have asked for an ID. You dumbass. You ruined a perfect thing. You just ruined it. Now, the cameos are not going to stop with Kevin Costner and Shannon Doherty and Ron Howard. We're not done. We're not done with the cameos yet. Just stand by to stand by. Party's over, numbnuts. He just wants to hit him. He just wants to hit him now. Chuck! And during that entire time, Henry Winkler was just spinning back and forth on the table. Just spinning back and forth, back and forth. Yep. Yeah, dude. Take off the tape. There's another huge laugh in the movie when they get their pictures done for the police. Like Henry Winkler's all sad. He's busted. He's like, oh no, my life is over now. The woe is me, that kind of thing. I mean, Henry Winkler plays a great Nebish. Okay, I don't care what he's known for. Most famously is on Happy Days, but it's and Michael Keaton just wants a comb to straighten his hair out. Michael Keaton is killing me here. Now, okay, the guy wandering around just looking up and down with the frizzy hair, that is Charles Fleischer. And Charles Fleischer, of course, was later famous for voicing Roger Rabbit. And yes, there are actual pictures of him in a Roger Rabbit suit while they were making the movie. Yeah, this is Charles Fleischer right here. He's a comedian, an actor, and a musician. He also appeared in Nightmare on Elm Street, The Polar Express, Rango, and We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. He also had a cameo in Back to the Future Part 2, directed by Robert Zemeckis, of course. He's best known as the voices of Roger Rabbit, Benny the Cab, Greasy, and Psycho in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yep. But he had a recurring role in the 1970s television series Welcome Back, Kotter as Carvelli, and as Chuck on the ABC series Laverne and Shirley, and on the Disney cartoon series House of Mouse as the voice of Benny the Cab. Fleischer appeared for the first time on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In on January 15th, 1973, where he played his homemade musical instruments made from lead pipe and shower wands. He then landed a spot on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson in 1974, regular on Keep On Truckin', and he guest starred on The Weird Al Show as a guy in a band. He also appeared on a short-lived Saturday morning show called Wacko. Okay. And he is now part owner of a multimedia company in Southern California and a writer for television and movies. He does stand-up gigs occasionally. Yeah. And he was also in Dick Tracy, My Girl 2, which I actually mentioned earlier. What else? And the last thing he did was Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Yeah, he gave the voice in the new Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie for Disney Plus. So he's still doing that. Wow. And of course, Gina Hecht is saying goodbye to Henry Winkler now. Like, just spit in his face. Yeah, just spit in his face. I mean, like I said, it's just a shame that Henry Winkler didn't really do anything else after this aside from, The Sure Thing and The Executive Producer, and then, directing Cop and a Half, But, I mean, Scream was a nice little surprise. And, now I just love to see him tweet about his fishing. I mean, that's the thing. I love his go on Twitter and follow Henry Winkler. Just trust me. I mean, just follow him on Twitter, because I mean, I love seeing him out on the water just catching fish. This is what he does now, and he will do for the rest of his life, no doubt. I mean, he's very, very happy, very, very happy. But this is what you do after you work with legends like Michael Keaton and Robin Williams, is that you fish all day. Now, I love this joke right here that not a lot of people, I think, picked up on, where, one of the prostitutes tells one of her fellow prostitutes, "All right, pay the cab driver, will you?" "No, with money." like she was going to give the cab driver a blowjob, See, look at all the ladies of the night in their top flight wardrobes now because of we go home and we give you a nice bath. Oh, please do so. Oh, yeah. It's Michael Keaton just looking in the bird or whatever. Yeah, he's so hard up on this tennis club lesson at 1 o'clock. He's just that's all he's thinking about right now. He doesn't care if he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison or not. Oh, he actually lifted the bottle cap. I didn't notice that before. That's crazy. Michael Keaton, star overnight. What can I say? He was a star overnight because of this movie. Absolutely. It's an election year, and the party is empower the Republicans. Well, let's just say they find the whole situation rather embarrassing. Look at the joy on Michael Keaton's face. It's like, oh, good. Now I'll go to my tennis lesson now. Of course, Henry Winkler sees it even more than that. He's happy that he'll be able to go back to his job, and he doesn't have to do the whole prostitution thing anymore, and just move on with his life without Bill. But Bill is convinced that we got him over the barrel. No, dude, shut up. More than ever, Bill's character needs to shut up. More than ever. And he just won't do it. He just wants to play tennis, man. He just wants to play tennis. But what I want is my old life back. The way it was before this craziness. I want my old life back. I love how sincere how sincere Henry Winkler is with those words. He is so sincere. We are holding the cards. You're crazy, dude. You're over the rainbow, as Chuck pointed out earlier. You're well over the rainbow by now. Look, we just have an excuse for more laughs, like here, like, no, Chuck, I'm wearing white. Every person I've showed this to, that line, you're going to play tennis with God, always made them laugh. Every single one I've showed this to, that line has made them laugh. Yep. Oh, no. Yeah, Chuck, you got to keep that elbow stiff. God. Trying to suffocate him with the book. I can have you guys executed for this. Oh, God. Now, see, as we're winding down here, we're about to enter the third act. We are 1 hour and 31 minutes and 15 seconds in. We got approximately 15 minutes left to go with Night Shift. Is there anything else I forgot to talk about in regards to... Well, we still have a couple of other cast members coming up we're going to say hi to, which is going to be very welcome. But, the cinematographer, I haven't talked about him yet. The cinematographer was actually James Crabe. No longer with us. He passed away in 1989, approximately 7 years after Night Shift. But he also shot The Karate Kid, which I know that Lost River Drive-In is a massive fan of, as you know, a lot of us are. A lot of us are Karate Kid fans. He actually shot the original Karate Kid, yeah. He also shot Rocky and The Formula for John G. Avildsen, the director of Rocky and Karate Kid. I have that movie on DVD as well. He also shot The China Syndrome, one of my favorite movies. Thank God It's Friday. And he has also shot another Lad Company movie, which we'll be doing later next month, which happens to be Police Academy 2, The First Assignment. Yes, we are actually going to do commentaries for the first two Police Academy movies, which were both Lad Company releases. And James Crabe also won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Cinematography for a limited series or movie for the 1982 miniseries The Letter, based on the play by W. Somerset. And he was also nominated for The Entertainer, Eleanor and Franklin, The White House Years, and his final film, Baby M. He won Outstanding Cinematographer for a series for the new Mike Hammer episode, More Than Murder, in 1984. And The Karate Kid Part 3 is dedicated to his memory because he passed away at the age of 57 due to AIDS. I remember I showed this movie to somebody, and they said that never before have I wanted two film correctors to get together so badly at the end than right here in Night Shift. And here we have Vincent Schiavelli, best known as being the good luck charm of Milos Forman. Been in many of his films, and he has a great little cameo here as the basically an early version of Grubhub, or basically he had been in a number of 70s movies, including The Happy Hooker. He played the music guru in The Happy Hooker, based on the bestseller by Xavier Hollander. And he was also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Next Stop Greenwich Village, An Unmarried Woman, The Frisco Kid, The Gong Show movies, American Pop, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The same year as Night Shift, he played Mr. Vargas with his Sanka, Sanka Coffee. He was also in Johnny Dangerously with Michael Keaton. But I think he is most famous for playing Ghost in the subway Ghost in Ghost. But he was also the organ grinder in Batman Returns, which of course had Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne and Batman. And he was also in The People versus Larry Flint, one of my favorites as Chester. He did a lot of movies for director Milos Forman, and passed away back in 2005. And here the Fonz is back, baby. Yep, here comes Vincent Schiavelli. But there's one more cast member that we need to mention who has a glorious cameo here in the final, one of the final sequences here, as Chuck goes down to Paradise Found to get Belinda. Excuse me. Where's the manager? Could you please call the manager? Paradise Found. Yeah, only in New York City in the 1970s would you be able to go to a place like this. I wonder what the membership cost would be. I'm not coming out of this pool naked. Not with these parents around here. Of course, Mr. Tuttle. And here we have Joe Spinell. Joe Spinell, that of course was in The Godfather. He played Willie C in The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. But in 1980 was his big year to shine as an actor because he did Cruising, directed by William Friedkin, The Ninth Configuration, directed by William Peter Blatty, who wrote The Exorcist. He also did Maniac, which he wrote the screenplay himself, where he played a serial killer where he scalped the heads of beautiful young women. He was also in Brubaker with Robert Redford, Melvin and Howard as a go-go club owner, like he is here practically. And finally, he was also in The First Deadly Sin, which also served, starring Frank Sinatra, which also served as the film debut of Bruce Willis, who, as we know, just retired from movies. And he was also in Nighthawks. Joe Spinell. He was also in Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone and Billy D. Williams. Night Shift, National Lampoon Goes to the Movies, Losing It, Tom Cruise. And his last few movies were Married to the Mob as Leonard Tiptoes Mazzilli, and Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee in 1989. Yep, Joe Spinell. Yep. Buckaroo Banzai, Better Off Dead. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, do you want a membership? Because I get a commission, you know. Just trying to get them to get a membership. All right. Now, see, I can't see his name here. I have to go somewhere else just real quick. But the actor's name that is approaching Shelley Long right here, he was on Mork and Mindy for a number of seasons, along with Gina Hecht, who played Henry Winkler's fiance. I'm trying to remember the name of this guy real quick. It's Jim Stahl. Yeah, Jim Stahl is this guy's name. He plays a character named Red. That's his character's name right here. And see, he's still with us. He was on SCTV. He is fully retired now, though. He just jumps. Where's the manager? You guys stay right here. Oh, actually, he was only in one episode of Mork and Mindy. I thought he was on Mork and Mindy for a whole season. I'm pretty sure he was on Mork and Mindy for an entire season, not just... Oh, well, he was also a writer on Mork and Mindy for one season, because as an actor, he was also in Curb Your Enthusiasm, Bobby's World, Normal Life, Goodnight Beantown, and that's right, he played Nelson Flavor on Mork and Mindy from 1979 to 1981. Yeah, but that's where I recognized him for the most part, was Mork and Mindy. Mm-hmm. Did a lot of Dragon Tales episodes too. Oh, very interesting. Okay, pisshead, you're fired. You know, that suits him just fine. He's not a towel boy. He's an idea man. He couldn't find his asshole with a funnel. My favorite comedy of all time. That's this right here, Night Shift. Yep. Well, at any rate, everybody in the chat, Johnny Lewis, Lost River Drive-In, and see, Ben Grimm. Oh, I almost missed you. I'm so sorry, buddy. And Joe Bob Tarheel. Thank you very much for coming out tonight for these movies, for Deliverance and Night Shift. Just to let you know, I will be back next Saturday night for a double feature, Kansas City Bomber, starring Raquel Welch, Kevin McCarthy, and Jodie Foster. And I'll be doing a double feature of that and Unholy Rollers. So it's going to be a rollerblading Saturday night next week for that. Vice Squad. I'm glad. I love when we hear the parrots squawking as they leave as well. Put some clothes on, you idiot. And here, Baccarat's music for their That's What Friends Are For are going to segue into the song, which was originally written and it was originally written by Burt Bacharach and Carol Bayer Saga, but it was sung by Rod Stewart. And like I said, this was years before Dionne Warwick did That's What Friends Are For in the mid-1980s, but I far prefer the Rod Stewart version. So yeah, here's my original LP for Night Shift. I picked up this in Australia, believe it or not. Down in the corner, it says lent for promotional use only. Ain't any sale or unauthorized transfers prohibited and void, subject to return upon demand by owner. Acceptance of this record constitutes agreement to the above. So, yeah. So this is the original LP for Night Shift, which has Night Shift by Quarter Flash, Street Talk by Burt Bacharach, Girls Know How by Al Jarreau, The Love Too Good to Last by the Pointer Sisters. That's what Friends Are For by Rod Stewart. Although it should be said it's not the longer version that's playing currently over the end credits here, because the end credits version has a whole extra verse to it almost. Marshall Crenshaw's Someday, Some Way, Evan 17's Penthouse and Pavement, Talk Talk by Talk Talk, Rufus and Chaka Khan's Everlasting Love, and Burt Bacharach's That's What Friends Are For, the love theme to Night Shift instrumental, mastered by Brian Gardner at Alan Zent's Recording in Hollywood, with additional music and lyrics by Marv Ross and David Foster. Quarter Flash appears courtesy of Geffen Records. Talk Talk appears courtesy of EMI. Pointer Sisters appear courtesy of Planet Records. And here we have the cast list. I talked about pretty much everybody listed here. Our Ladies of the Night. Joyce, played by Ildiko Jade. That is, in fact, Drew Barrymore's mother right there. And Jim Stahl is Red. Richard Belzer is Pig. Kevin R. Sullivan as Tyrone, who later directed How Stella Got Her Groove Back. Frat Boy number 1, Kevin Costner. Yes, Frat Boy number 1, played by Kevin Costner, and Bluebird, played by Shannon Doherty. And the featured disco performers, the Solid Gold Dancers. Yep. Both Ron Howard and Rob Reiner's first two movies share similar qualities, which I admire. That is very, very true. I did not think about that, but it's true. Very true, Johnny Lewis. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Okay, now Riggs, Ready or Not, Take It Off, performed by Riggs. Yeah, those are on this soundtrack, but not the official soundtrack. You Really Got Me by Van Halen. Jumpin' Jack Flash by the Rolling Stones. I mean, there's the Twin Towers in the background there. Beautiful helicopter shots of New York City for the end credits here. We saw the Empire State Building all lit up. And there's the two towers there. And soundtrack available on Warner Brothers Records and Tapes. Yep. And that is the end of Night Shift, a Lad Company release through Warner Brothers, a Warner Communications company. So we'll see you all very, very soon with another commentary. Like I said, next week I will be doing Kansas City Bomber at 9 p.m. with Raquel Welch, Kevin McCarthy, and Jodie Foster, along with the Unholy Rollers. So we're going to have a nice little double feature there of women roller derby teams. So hope you all can come out for that. You all have a great evening. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much.